Hello guys and welcome to another video. After Bigod and Kingsong, Veteran, also known as leaperkim, finally releases a wheel with suspension. After two successes, the Sherman and the Sherman Max, and a huge failure with the Abrams, I was wondering what Veteran could offer us, especially versus the higher voltage wheels from Bigod and Kingsong. I'm not gonna lie, when I first saw the specs of the wheel, I was quite skeptical. But after seeing this EUC right in front of me and testing it, I quickly understood that the Sherman S is going to be a huge success. So let's go through the specs of the wheel and then I'm gonna say what I like and don't like about the Sherman S. First, shout out to Jason and Ewheels for providing this demo wheel and making this video possible. Ewheels has been providing demo EUCs in New York City for quite some years now, and it's always appreciated. So what are the specs of the Sherman S? It's a 20-inch tire size EUC with a battery size of 3600 Wh. The free spin speed is 64 miles per hour with a high torque motor of 3000 watts. The wheel has two magnesium side panels that are quite beefy. The wheel has two handles/bumpers, one at the front, one at the back, and surprisingly, they are not in metal but in nylon. At the top you can find a display and the trolley handle. This trolley also integrates a small seat. The wheel has a powerful headlight at the front, and at the back you have a red tail light that has also a laser light functionality. The Sherman S also has two magnesium big pedals. These are adjustable and with spikes. And finally, the Sherman S is equipped with a fork shock system suspension that was designed by Fastace. The difference with other suspension here is that it's not an air shock, it's liquid.
It's liquid. It's like it's not a gas shock. It's liquid.
Liquid?
Yeah, it's like.
So what do I like about the Sherman S? First, I like the design of that wheel. The first time that you look at the Sherman S, it doesn't take much time for you to understand that you have a quality EUC in front of you. The wheel looks really beautiful. The design is kind of robotic, but in a good way. It has a real shell that is quite solid and will protect the insides of your wheel. Coming from a Master and a Master Pro, with its plasticky, weak design, seeing the Sherman S is quite refreshing. Everything on that wheel looks solid and sturdy. The pedals are quite good and very grippy. They fold by themselves and don't need any magnet. The number one thing I like about the Sherman S is the performance of its suspension. Honestly, it's on another scale versus any other suspension EUC released as of now. I've been riding the Master and the Master Pro for quite some time now. I have even changed the air shock suspension of the Master for a coil spring one. I can tell you that the Sherman S suspension is way superior to anything else. To the point that I think it's gonna be difficult for me to return to the Master suspension after riding the Sherman S. I'm just gonna think that these air shock suspension are just average now. Once you adjust correctly the settings, you can just full send on broken roads and you will feel nothing. You will have the confidence to just go fast on roads and not be impacted by bumps. I'm not saying that the Master or Kingsong S22 wheels suspension are bad. I'm just saying that the Sherman S is just much better. I also like with that suspension system that you don't need to pump anything. When I first heard that the Sherman S would still be a 100 volt wheel, I must say I was quite skeptical and disappointed. After hitting 50 miles plus on the Master, I was thinking that the Sherman S would be obsolete. The reality is quite different. The Sherman S is torquey and extremely fast. I've hit easily 48 miles per hour without even trying. I think that wheel is even faster than the previous Sherman and Sherman Max. So speed-wise, I'm not seeing any concern with the Sherman S. I absolutely like the ride feeling of this wheel. The wheel feels planted and stable. The pedals are not as high as the other suspension wheels and this helps a lot. On multiple occasions, I was riding on the road with strong wind and usually on the Master or the Master Pro, I get disturbed by that a lot. Of course, you gotta get used to it, but in general, it disturbs me a lot. but on the Sherman S, I had a higher tolerance to wind, and I suspect this is due to the lower pedals and on top of it to the weight of the wheel. The magnesium shells help to plant the wheel on the road, and that's a welcome addition. I think that the Sherman S rides like a proper Sherman, except it has suspension. The stability you get at high speed with the Sherman S is quite impressive. I got comfortable with the Sherman S very fast, and I don't think it's a coincidence. So what are the points that I don't like with the Sherman S? First, I don't like the screen. They went with a black and white display, calculator style, that feels old and dated in my opinion. On the Master and the Master Pro, I can use the display. Actually, I don't need any app to monitor my speed, but with the Sherman, I would never look at the screen while riding. It's just not visible enough. I also don't like the trolley of the Sherman S. Honestly, at this point, saying you don't like the trolley of an EUC feels like a broken record. I don't like it because you need two hands to pull it out. It's also very weak and feels like it's gonna break at any point of time. They also put this weird tiny seat on top of it that I don't think is usable unless you're a gnome. The paint on the Sherman S seems to scratch very easily, even with light drops. I mention this because the marks are quite visible after. I'm sure this can be covered by paint, kind of like what you have for cars. Pedals mode-wise, the soft mode on the Sherman S is completely useless. It is extremely hard and doesn't make any sense. If you prefer hard mode, this is not gonna be a problem for you. But I prefer to accelerate using soft mode, and I was missing that. Finally, something that disturbs me a little bit about the Sherman S is that they didn't go 134 volt like Bigot did. Unless you want to do 50 miles per hour, it's not really necessary to have a 134 volt wheel, but at the same time, having it is a good addition as well. From a practical point of view, I would say that voltage thing is mostly an EUC geek concern. I think that 100 volt wheels are still relevant for now. So we discussed the design of the wheel, the suspension, the speed, the ride feeling of the Sherman S. In conclusion, I would say that the Sherman S is the best suspension electric unicycle I've ever ridden. It's the best overall package, period. It's a beautiful wheel, made with great quality and offers a great performance, whether it's suspension or speed. Obviously, the suspension of the Sherman S is the #1 reason why I like that EUC. Paired with the typical Sherman stability when riding and a great design, the Sherman S is, in my opinion, the ultimate electric unicycle. The more you ride the Sherman S, the better it feels. The stability and speed it provides helps you to ride in traffic with extreme comfort. Honestly, the Sherman S feels more stable than any other EUC I've ever ridden, except with the original Sherman. So yes, a Sherman with suspension, that's the dream wheel to me. I think Veteran raised the bar in terms of overall package for an EUC, and now the other makers will have to step up. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I see you next time.